3 years had passed since the blood of Boston Massacre stained the cobblestones, but the anger never left. It only grew quieter, and quieter anger is more dangerous. May 10, 1773. Across the Atlantic, in London, the British Parliament passed a new law. They called it the Tea Act. On the surface, it promised cheaper tea for the American colonies, but hidden inside that law was a poison. The British East India Company, one of the most powerful corporations in human history, was handed a complete monopoly over all tea trade in America. Colonial merchants who had built their lives selling tea were finished overnight, and the taxes remained. No taxation without representation. That sacred principle trampled upon. Again, Samuel Adams read the Tea Act and felt it in his bones. This is not a gift. This is a noose. He summoned the Sons of Liberty. Boston was about to ignite. Warning pamphlets flooded every corner of Boston streets. Those who drink British tea sell their liberty for a cup. A single cup of tea had become a political weapon. November 28, 1773. The first tea ship, Dartmouth, sailed silently into Boston Harbor. 114 chests of tea. The colonists watched from the shore. Nobody spoke. Then came Beaver. Then Eleanor. 3 ships. 342 chests. 46 tons of tea. Boston Harbor held its breath. The clock was ticking. December 16th. Morning. Thousands of Boston citizens poured into the Old South Meeting House. Men from neighboring towns came too. Nobody was turned away. The most urgent meeting in American history had begun. Governor Thomas Hutchinson received the crowd's final demand. His answer was immediate. Those ships do not leave until every tax is paid. He was the king's man, and the king did not negotiate with colonists. Adams sent one final messenger to the governor's mansion. The messenger returned empty-handed, refused. The hall fell completely silent. Samuel Adams rose from his seat. Every eye in the hall fixed upon him. He spoke slowly, quietly. This meeting can do nothing more to save the country. And with those words, the revolution moved from the meeting hall to the harbor. A war cry exploded from outside. 150 men were already waiting in the darkness. Faces blackened with charcoal, red clay on their skin, axes in their hands, disguised as Mohawk Indians. They marched in silence toward Griffin's Wharf. No drums, no speeches, just footsteps on cold cobblestone, and the sound of history being made. They boarded the ships. No resistance. The harbor guards stepped aside. Even they knew what this night meant. Axes rose. Axes fell. Wood split open. The scent of tea drifted across Boston Harbor. And ironically, it smelled like freedom. Chest after chest, into the cold black water. One by one, 342 chests. 46 tons. 3 hours. Not one act of violence. Not one item stolen, except tea. One man caught stuffing tea into his coat pocket was thrown off the ship immediately. This was revolution with principles. Zorba would have said, true courage is not picking up a sword, it is knowing what to let go. That night in Boston, 150 men did not throw away tea. They threw away fear. Dawn broke over Boston Harbor. 342 tea chests floated in silence. Governor Hutchinson stood at his window. His hands were shaking. Boston has committed treason against the crown. An urgent letter raced across the Atlantic. King George III read it, and he was not amused. The British Parliament erupted in fury. The colonists have gone too far. This time there will be consequences. In 1774, Parliament struck back. The coercive acts. The colonists had their own name. The Intolerable Acts. Boston Harbor sealed shut. No ships in, no ships out, until every penny of tea was repaid to the crown. But Britain had made a fatal miscalculation. This punishment was not just Boston's problem. All 13 colonies felt the chains tighten, and chains, when pulled too hard, always break. September 5, 1774. Philadelphia, Carpenter's Hall. For the first time in history, delegates from all 13 colonies sat in the same room. They came as strangers. They would leave as one nation. The First Continental Congress has begun. Next episode coming soon.